Hello, everyone. How are we doing? This is Chanan, and I have with me Joey Lott.
Hi,
Welcome
everybody.
to Accessing Oneness. So today we're going to talk about the different roles that we play, the different masks that we wear. So you might be wondering why I have this mask on. This is a mask of Mordecai. Today is actually Purim, the Jewish holiday. Whoops. And that's another thing to be talking about, really, is that what we're sharing about realizing who we really are, what we're sharing about accessing your true self underneath the mask. Doesn't matter what religion you are. Doesn't matter if you're a woman, you're a man. In fact, doesn't matter what label you go by, what country you're from. Our divine birthright is to access our one self here. That's what we've all been up to, is to get beyond the hell to heaven. But we find that we can't get to the heaven by seeking it. Actually, it turns out that it's the seeking mind that is the survival that we're leaving behind us. What is it to not live from survival anymore, but to live from our soul, to receive God, to receive spirit? Now, this is not a religious teaching. This is showing you how to get so receiving in the moment, so present, so out of your mind, shifted out of your mind, so meditative that meditation's living you. And you may find that whatever religion you're in, you're even better at showing up in that religion. You'll discover that whatever relationship you have, you show up better and fuller in that relationship. Not by beating yourself up that you should have done it better, but because you show up. You're ready to show up. You're ready to stop
Right.
hiding.
And
And we're
in
only really talking to people who are ready to stop hiding.
and in all the roles, and that's really what's exciting is that we can twist this with the mind into that we have to get rid of roles or something. But what we're actually saying is that you get to be you fully, and all of those roles get to be expressed, but you get to inhabit them consciously, in joy. And that's a real shift, and that's for people who are ready. That's for people who are feeling like, yeah, I'm recognizing the truth of what's here, even though my mind can't grasp it. I know that I'm ready for real freedom. I know that I'm ready to truly live from that peace and that clarity, so that I can say yes to my life in a big way. Say yes to life. Say yes to showing up, and and no longer having to be playing small, really just no longer having to play small, like I'm limited by this mask, I'm limited by this belief, I'm limited by this memory, this thing that other people think about me or that I think about myself. But to actually show up in the fullness of yourself, that's where life gets exciting. And if you are somebody who's been looking for that and longing for that, then the good news is that we actually have a direct process where we can train you to discover that directly for yourself. It's not a belief, it's not a theory, it's not any of the old way of what we've learned about how we have to improve something, fix something, get it better. But it's actually about really truly just being yourself. And we have a process that we can show you in less than 8 weeks, because we see that people get this result in less than 8 weeks. I mean, we actually have the audacity to say that we can teach you how to be enlightened. We can teach you how to discover the truth of who you are, which is what people for eons have spent lifetimes seeking for. And we can show you how to do that in 8 weeks' time, so that it's possible to live a truly awake life, in your life. Both Hanan and I are fathers, so there's a role there. But can we show up in the fullness of ourselves in that role as father, in that role as friend, in that role as husband, in that role as neighbor, as collaborators? And that's where life comes alive, rather than playing small, trying to hide, trying to protect, trying to keep it all okay, hold it all together, make sure that everybody can agree that I'm okay. But finally, we can let all of that go and just be totally ourselves, share the gift
Right.
of ourselves with the world.
That's right. What is it? What is it to finally take off the mask? First, we have to take a look at how do we hide? How do you hide? So let's take a look at like what roles you play. So like here's a silly thing. Okay, I'm dressed as a role of a Jew. If I take that off, then I'm Caesar, right? I think the Romans destroyed the Jews for a while. Am I my enemy? Am I the mask? Am I Hail, the guy who's great, or the woman that's great, or the ego that has to be great, or deflated the other way, right? I'm no good. What's wrong with me? But we had to play through all these roles. We had to go into the dark. We had to go through everything we had to go through in order to discover what is possible. And that's where we are. And you all know it. You feel this already. You feel the darkness in the world building. There was other very dark times, but there was never a time where so many people could communicate about the darkness to each other. Collectively know what's going on in places all over the world. So we can look back and say, well, there was other times of great darkness, but there wasn't a collective meeting like this internet, right? When I shared awakening to freedom and inner peace years ago, I couldn't meet with people this way. Never met with people this way. But today's Purim, just so you know, I won't get into that holiday, but you can look it up, and we dress up kind of like Halloween, right? But really, it's prompted me to really say, what is the mask that you play? Think about it. Close your eyes for a moment, if you will. If you have a moment, if you can't close your eyes, that's okay. I want you just to picture yourself like the doorbell rings, you don't know who's there at your house. Okay, doorbell rings, you go to the door, you open the door, it's the mailman. Okay, what does he want? That's weird. Why is he knocking? What comes up in you? Okay. Now, let's close that door again. Doorbell rings. Unexpected. You don't know who's coming. You go answer the door, and it's your lover. Oh, close the door. Doorbell rings. You open the door, and it's a little girl selling Girl Scout cookies. You show up in roles, don't you? How do we stop hiding? How do we stop self-abuse, right? The negative thoughts. How do we stop this polarity up and down by allowing it, really, by allowing the waves, by giving up the meaning, the interpretation, the perceptual separate me that's constantly trying to be in control and protect itself to be okay. If you're ready to take off the mask for a moment with me, what if you just for a moment, what if you're not a man or a woman? What are you for a moment? The mind goes, what? What is he talking about? Like, I am a man or I am a woman. Okay. Well, if you don't let those thoughts just kind of come and go like a bee buzzing by for a moment, not sure you need to get rid of thoughts or anything. And for a moment, if you just give up that you're a man or a woman, what's there for a moment? What's free of concept already? And we see in moments in nature, on retreat, through a psychedelic experience, through a meditation moment, this connectivity of oneness and peace. But we deny that that's real here now because we live in our minds. So what we have to share with you is that what is really going on, even when someone sits to meditate, they're still identified as the person doing it to do a technique, to have an experience, to be more peaceful, and then really to go back to life and get smacked around. So we're offering people a training that's done in life. Instead of going away on retreat, you go in life. So this is what has to occur, whether it happens with us or you can some way find a way to do it for yourself. But that is to shift out of your mind over and over again in life, where you literally stop believing your thoughts. You stop believing perceptual interpretation of life while receiving life. So you connect to that oneness, that moment you have in orgasm, that moment you've had in nature. You start to recognize that you are nature and that moment really is here. And you give up even trying to be mindful or be here now. And you recognize that all the teachings and all the techniques, they guide you to here, and they'll even make more sense on the flip side. But I'm inviting you for a moment to recognize, how do you hide? How do you hide from life? How do you protect yourself? How do you pretend? And what if for a moment the pretending, the protecting, and the hiding is okay. It'll happen. The mind will do its thing. But you no longer have to hide.
Yep.
And that discovery is the discovery of your true one self.
Yep.
At your core, that you are already whole, connected, complete, that you're already here. And the audacity to give up seeking, because seeking already said it's somewhere else. You're trying to maintain a feeling you had before. And I understand what you feel right now might not feel good, so that other feeling may be better somewhere else. But you can't get there that way. You can't get to infinity through separate means. The inclusiveness of this moment, that's where reality is, and the great allowing of life. And as you align and receive, not only do you awaken to I am that I am, but you also awaken to the compassion, acceptance, spaciousness, love for this human being. You show up as you, infinite, you, soul, you, human, you, free. In total trust of the beauty that supports everything. But what would it be to live and breathe in that? So a role may still pop up and be played, but you have to be trapped in your roles. Are you defined by what you wear? Are you defined by what you put on? Are you defined by your uniform? Are you defined by your relationships? Are you defined by your name? Are you defined by what your small mind says is right and wrong about you? You're not. And you know that already.
That's right.
But the habitual thought takes back over.
That's right. And you know, the amazing thing is just what Hanan said is we already all know that. That's the funny thing. It's like you can imagine that you're walking around with a mask on, and you're walking around town with the mask on. You get on the bus, you go to work, sitting at your desk, coworkers are there, and everybody knows you're wearing a mask. Everybody. But you're pretending like the mask is you. And if somebody says, "Hey, you say, no, I'm no mask. You forgot about the mask for a second. See, sad face. See, that's me, right?" And you can see how much effort it takes to try to maintain that, to try to maintain that you're this thing, that you're the mask, that you're the role, that that's you, and try to get everybody to agree with that. But that's the world that most of us are living in. Is this pretend? Yeah, here's what I am. You pretend that that's me, and I'll pretend that thing that the mask you're wearing is you, and that we're going to live in that way. And we see what happens in the world then.
Out of complete fear of vulnerability too, right, Joey? Out of complete fear of actually authentic. We all want to live authentic.
Yes.
Be revealed, but yet that's deep down we want that, but really all to protect ourselves by what other people think of us, what we perceive of them. Everyone just putting up a border of protection.
Yeah.
And those walls got to come down now, actually.
And because they've been painful, B, because they're just not true. And it's time for us to be honest, right? It's just time for us to no longer indulge the lies. It's time for us to come together collectively and start telling the truth to ourselves and one another, because that's how we can start to live real freedom, real world peace, is when we all are telling the truth. And that begins with you. And if you're feeling the truth of this, if you're feeling that resonance, it's like, yes, then awesome. You know, what we have to offer is for you, because this gets results for people who are ready. And we see it consistently. So I would love to have everybody who's feeling a yes to join us for our next masterclass. And you can, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can type class in the comments below, or anywhere that you're seeing this at any time. You can go directly to brianmark.com/masterclass. So that's BRIANMARC.com/masterclass. And we will share with you in this masterclass the specific process that we've discovered that's the most direct, fastest, most effective means for discovering your true nature and living from that, so that you no longer have to play that game of pretending that you're small, pretending that you're suffering, pretending that you are unclear on who you are. You can begin to live from the full trust of that and live in the greatest expression of you, which is amazing. And that's what we want for you, because that's a life, that's a world that's exciting, right? That's a world that I want to live in. That's a world where you are you, and we celebrate that together.
So what I want, before we step off here and say goodbye, I really want you to investigate for yourself the roles that you play, the roles that you believe yourself to be, and check out, who are you really? What never changes? What is always here? And you'll discover that you being is never changing. And we take you through the past and now moment exercise in the masterclass, and you'll see that being has always been there. But then the real thing is, maybe some of you have already recognized that, or some of you have no clue what that even is. Either way, it's possible to shift out of your mind to being itself. It's possible to shift out of your mind to this moment to moment revealing of divine connection, the divine love that we all call for. What would it look like when we all really know that we're one? And that's really, we'll leave you with that. That's our mission here. Really, our mission in the next 3 years is to help 2 million people awaken. But it's not just about that number. It's about that there's a critical tipping point where enough people will know that enough is enough. And it's time to show up and take responsibility for your awakening. How can you be responsible for your awakening if it just unfolds? It just happens. Well, that's just another mental construct in what we call the separation paradigm. It's literally possible to shift out of your mind, out of living in separation paradigm, while including separation, right? Right? It's everything and nothing, the form and formlessness all at the same time. And for you to start living from now, receiving creation, receiving self-love, instead of trying to love yourself, receiving confidence, instead of trying to be confident, puffing up the ego, and then feeling up and down. It's time to come off the wheel of chasing to get something somewhere else and come home to yourself, and to recognize that your blossoming has been your whole life. The purpose of your life is you now. And now it's clear, because you're ready, that the purpose of your life is fully to awaken and stabilize. If you're already awake, stabilize and awakening, so that there's nowhere in life, no matter what challenge, what's going on, that you're not aware of yourself connected and one with everything. No matter what the emotion is, no matter what the sensation is. So the roles will get played, the play plays on. Who are you really? And what is it to embrace your role, to really authentically know yourself? This is about true self-discovery, inside and out. True self-discovery is possible. And the greatest way I've ever seen was the direct imitation of this great sage, Ramana Maharshi, who Carl Jung called the whitest spot on earth. And he said to ask yourself, who am I? And turn your attention to this I. The problem is, even that has been co-opted by the mind and distorted by people. And at the same time, we're in a different time. So how could we circumvent the mind's co-opting, give people that same shift that is necessary for real awakening? Well, that's what we do with access points. We shift you out of your mind over and over. In fact, you shift yourself out of your mind after you're activating these in your life. And everyone who's gone through this can clearly know that they can access themselves. The transformation is palpable. And you'll be able to see some of these videos of people sharing that. The most important thing is to recognize that if you had the tools to do that, but on your own, would you really follow through with that? And odds are no, right? For my book, Stop, Smile, Breathe, Be, a simple thing, stop, smile, breathe, be. People find great opening and light in seeing these patterns that we see identify you. But then in life, the maintenance of that goes back into the mind. So we found a way to support people in really shifting, where after a while, instead of you even trying to access, you're accessing life, meditation. Life's meditating you, just like you're being breathed right now. So for a moment, just drop all roles. Forget everything can be forgotten for one instant, and take a breath and recognize that breath is being given to you now. And you can live from there. You can live in abundance and gratitude, not trying to get it. All right. We love you. Whatever, if you're not on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, you can type the word class below. If you're on any other social media, then you can look for the link in the bio or the link below for brianmark.com/masterclass. We have an amazing class going on. I believe tonight we have some more coming up. We're also going to be taking some time to sit down with small groups of people so we can directly not just share for an hour, but we can actually interact in a small group. That's going to be very limited space, but we'll be letting you know about when that's coming up also, so you can really know it is firsthand to start working with us. Okay. So lots of love to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
All right. Take off the mask. Recognize who you really are. It's time, because from that, the whole world will transform. This is a movement of awakening. We're asking you to take responsibility, join this movement of awakening, so we can see inner transformation, outer transformation, individual suffering ending, external suffering ending, and then imagine what we won't do and what we won't do. And I'm doing that for my children. I'm doing that for you. So join us. All right. Lots of love.